Blizzard are replacing Weakauras. Blizzard's fight against Weakauras and the urgent patch 11.1 exploits. Oh no, people using Weakauras to exploit stuff. Look, me, I've always been an anti-add-on guy. If I can get rid of add-ons from the game, I would. I'd press the delete button. The reason why, I'd just rather have everything in the game. I personally think add-ons, first of all, makes Blizzard a little bit lazy because they can lean on them. Second of all, it just creates a barrier to entry for the game. For a lot of new players, they got to go download this extra shit. And it just seems a bit too much at times. So lessening add-ons to me is the right way to go. Blizzard's arm race against them. Let's see how it's going with Bellular's video here.
Welcome back to the Warcraft news, and if there's one thing we're getting used to, it's WoW seasonal rollouts getting a little bit complicated. We don't always know everything that's going on. Some of our
Sam's an anti-skill guy.
Turning out a little bit wrong. But now, after a few days of the patch, we have a huge stack of learnings today, which will make the next few days super, super effective for you, including what looks like a little bit of an oversight. Any alts lying around, as it turns out, can get huge stacks of crests and basically a sneaky head start on next week. There's much more to cover, of course, including today's sponsor, Squarespace, who are awesome because they just let you get the job done right. Whenever I needed a job site and a game landing page, I went to Squarespace because they just made my
Tigger, if you're trying to enter into the Sky Reaver giveaway, type exclamation point points to see how many points you currently have so far. You got to watch 1 hour of stream to get 1 point, and then you can enter into the giveaway.
Blueprint AI guides you through building your own template. It is
winner picked on March 7th this week, Friday.
With something that's really quite impressive. Then you've got the block-based editor that is super easy to use, and that makes crafting your site so simple. And if you want even more control, Fluid Engine is a game changer that lets you do just that and granularly move elements in your site.
Wow.
But in a way,
very
it doesn't
fluid.
make it all explode on mobile, which is great. Basically, everybody should have a killer site that represents them. A good first impression helps you with jobs or even just hosting your portfolio or perhaps your side hustle. And if you are doing business, they have got you covered. Their e-commerce solutions
Very
will
nice.
handle digital products, physical products. They'll hook up with your shipment provider to make all that dead simple. They support courses. They support bookings, be those in person, online, any of that. And they have a host of other features to help you succeed. Like
this is a long ad.
Proper native video that works.
That's a long ad. Oh my god.
And their e-commerce pipeline. It's all amazing. So you can get started today at squarespace.com/bellulargaming. You can build your site with a free trial and then send it live with 10% off your first purchase of a site or domain.
Hey, man's got to make money. Use code Valor
what
Gaming.
Feels like a literal cheat code. So, do you remember the Crest and Valor Stone rewards from the Season 1 Renowns? Basically, you get a certain amount of Renown, and on any character, if you go to those Renown vendors, they'll just have a load of stuff. Now, here's what's kind of wild. If you've not picked up those rewards, as it turns out, they've been converted into Season 2 rewards.
Right.
The quests, that is. So, basically, if you've done lots of progress on your Renowns, ideally if you've maxed them out, any fresh alts or untouched characters will be able to pick up 200 carved crests.
Holy.
200! And 120 weathered crests right away, plus a whole ton of Valor Stones to use.
I don't know if I actually went to the vendors and did this. Maybe I should. I don't know. I know I grinded out. I just passively got Renown and stuff for all these guys, but I don't know if I ever went to the vendors and actually picked these quests up.
Obviously, you don't need to be fully maxed to Renown.
That might be the new strat.
Will do as long as you've unlocked some of those rewards. It's definitely a handy little boost. I would say, though, it is likely best to save those until the end of week 1 when you've got
I know I don't have
gear
alts,
to
that's
use
true.
them on. But of course, if you wanted to, you could use these right away to boost any Season 2 gear that you have found. One thing to make sure of, though, do not pick up any of the coffer keys. These Renown vendors will, of course, have quests that give you coffer keys. But the thing is, your current stack of keys will be wiped whenever Season 2 begins. Which basically means if you turn those quests in right now, those keys will be deleted unless you use them over the next few days.
Okay.
So, save those up and, yeah, you'll have even more keys to do even more bountifuls,
wow,
to more upgrades. And also a quick note for alts while we're here. Good news, right? There is going to be a skip for the campaign. The bad news, though, is that's not going to be until next week. And the way it works is fairly straightforward. You finish the whole campaign on one character. That's going to be possible whenever the next chapters unlock next week. Once that's done, you will get an option to skip the campaign on your alts. And thankfully, Blizzard said the skip will work at any time. Right?
Great for people with alts.
If you've already made some progress on the campaign on one of your alts, no problem. You'll still be able to do the skip, which is a massive improvement over other skips that they've done. All right, that said, Let's talk about Renown. On the topic of your Undermine Renown farming, there's a few things we did not anticipate, and we all totally forgot that the Dark Moon Fair is up, so be sure to pick
it's up. All you gotta do, ride the ride or pick up the top hat, get 10% boost on that.
Your 10% buff before
Easy.
we carry on. Now, there are some sources that...
But don't die, okay? Don't die after you get the thing, or you're gonna have to go back and do it again. I realized that the first time I ever tried that. If you die, the buff wipes off, so try not to die.
Totally escaped us on the PTR. One of them is the dungeon quest. That's, of course, the usual weekly dungeon quest that you pick up from an NPC that merges my two favorite things, beer and goths. Pick that up in Dornagal, and you'll be able to get even more rep. In fact, it will be 1,500 for the Cartels of Undermine. It's pretty good, and that's not bad for, as an example, a quick run of Arakara. And if you don't feel like doing that with other people, you can absolutely nuke it out on the follower mode. So that's pretty good.
Wait a minute, the follower mode counts? For these quests, there's so many times that I just didn't do the quest because I didn't want to do the dungeon and group up in it. You could just do oh my god, I've missed out on so much rep. I had no idea. The follower mode is like literally, like you said, you could pull the entire dungeon at once. Oh man.
Good. Next,
missed out on a lot of rep.
The Renown boost from Bountiful Delves has been updated to work with the new Renown. So basically, clear those suckers for an extra 1,000 rep. Now, unfortunately, this is still random, so basically just run Bountifuls this week until you see the correct rep pop up. And generally speaking, for getting your Renowns up, man, doing those Bountiful Delves is a real good source. And if you add together these two sources, you'll actually get a complete bonus level. And remember, the faster...
not to mention, if you have any coffer keys left over, just do Bountiful Delves, because you're going to wait. They're going away. They're getting deleted on Tuesday resets, so you might as well just do some Bountiful Delves, see what you get out of it.
Get to rank 13, the sooner you'll get some bonus Valor stones, but more importantly, you'll unlock the chat feature, which you can do regularly. Okay, on top of Dark Moon, it is also World Quest Week. That means any World Quests done will be giving you an extra 50% rep, which is actually pretty major. Now, also, do not forget the World Quest contract item. That's the one that is made by Scribes. It's going pretty cheap in the auction house right now, and the rank 3 version of it gives you 15 rep per quest completed, which is honestly not a huge amount, but hey, that could be a extra bonus every week, which is quite nice. And if you really want the enchanted crest ASAP, that's the one you get at the end of the Renown. Well, every little bit will help. So clearing all of this, as well as your daily rares, your side quests, including the new delves and dungeon quests, will get you a lot. If you're doing that with the Dark Moon buff, you will be ahead of the pack, because there are thousands of upfront Renowns available this week, especially those side quests. There are 13 storylines. Each of those grant you between 100 and 200. They're real quick. That's a lot of progress. And of course, you can do that with a juicy 10% bonus, and that'll save yourself some serious effort later on. The next topic to hit is gear, and you can very much get started on Season 2. Importantly, you can get 2 veteran pieces pretty easily, and then an extra veteran piece if you do a little bit extra. So, just like with Season 1.
By the way, this was bugged. He's going to tell you how to do it, but this was bugged to get the second one for some people. For some reason, the game was registering that you got your second piece and was not giving it to you. Blizzard didn't really comment on it, but a lot of people have posted about it, so they should be aware, and maybe you could get your second piece at some point if you didn't get it already.
You will get a piece of level 626 veteran gear from the first 2 pinnacle caches that you loot each week. Now, those are from your major weekly activities. That's things like the special assignment in Undermine and finishing the surge pricing weekly for Nani Tallulah. And if you're wondering when surge pricing is up, you can just check the new UI that's on your map. It's really sick. I love how they've displayed
it's a good UI.
Timings. Okay, there's that. Also, you'll be able to get another veteran piece on rank 7 of the Cartels of Undermine Renown track. And while I'd personally save the resources, if you wanted to, you could upgrade those all the way to 645 now.
Who the shit?
Next then, if you're rolling
Who's upgrading their gear? Don't do that. Don't do that. Save your shit. I'm telling you guys, you might feel like a little bit behind right now if some people are pushing their right, but don't do it. Don't upgrade your gear yet. Save everything for Season 2.
Fresh alt, the only other gear you'll be getting is Explorer gear from World Quests and BOE sources like Rares. If you've got the cash, the auction house is actually flooded.
If you're maxed out, that's fine, Devil. Yeah, that's fine. If you're maxed out on stones and shit, then yeah, go ahead and do it.
Level 603 BOEs right
Otherwise,
now.
save your
They're,
stuff.
of course, still a little bit overpriced. Those prices will obviously tank as time goes on. That's an amazing way to just get an alt ready to go nearly instantly. Now, on the topic of upgrading that gear, all the usual sources still grant weathered and carved crests. That means weekly boxes, even for old content like the Theater Troupe, those will, of course, drop carved crests. Weathered crests then drop from the lower ticket items. One of my favorite ones is always just flying through all the little Azeroth orbs, which can just give of you weathered crests. It feels kind of crazy. Okay,
Oh,
that's
I
the
didn't
main stuff
realize
you need
that.
to know right now. We will be back with more in-depth stuff for the season launch, but right now, that's all you need to get ahead. And with that said, let's talk about some news. The news is pretty damn interesting this time. Loads slipped under the radar with all of us focusing on the patch. One thing is 11.1.5 being more important than we thought. So, as soon as 11.1 went up, the label on the PTR changed to 11.1.5, so we can expect testing to begin
That's
in
right.
the next few weeks.
Next patch.
And it'll be an interesting one. They're bringing some mysterious new content that's just called Nightfall, and of course bringing back horrific visions from Battle for Azeroth. I am very excited for that.
I'm guessing Nightfall, if I just had to, figure it out based on the name, it's going to be some type of like shifting mode, kind of like, what's it called? Like the Halifal Crystal does right now, Belladar, where it's shifting between the two, the night and that's what I think it'll be, like some kind of world event that constantly kicks off and you go do it, whatever. The horrific visions I'm very excited for personally, and I'm sure we're going to get some more story content. That might be part of what Nightfall is as well.
Those. If you weren't there, they were solo or party-based challenges, all themed around saving old god nightmare versions
These were
of
fun.
Stormwind and Orgrimmar. Basically, they were really fun, they had optional challenge modes, and this time round, they might actually have rewards that don't damage the whole system.
Yeah, the worst part about these, though, was gathering up the currency that you needed. Remember, you needed to, like, get some shit together. I don't know if it was a key or what. I completely forget. But if you had to get something from the open world by doing world quests or whatever, gather it up, and then you could go do these horrific visions. Now, if you busted the horrific vision as soon as you went in, for whatever reason, died early or made a mistake, guess what? You got to go back and redo all the shit to get another key to go back in again. I hated that whole currency grind thing. It was kind of annoying. So hopefully this thing is more just like enter whenever you want, and you could do it as many times as you want, because the currency grind to me was kind of annoying, especially if you made a mistake. Oh my God, it like broke you because it took a while to get that shit together.
Be nice. But there's actually some more speculation in that. You see, the Renown track for the raid does not have the dinars, right? The gear tokens that were originally planned to be there. And game director Ian Hazzikostas told Nagura in a recent interview that it's coming in 11.1.5. He said that they wanted it to be something that unlocks for everyone and, quote, have more control over it as a universal system rather than every player having to progress toward it. Basically, it seems they knew that was a really cool reward, and they didn't want to stash it away behind, like, 15 weeks of just clearing the raid.
Yeah.
Could be interesting. Maybe they'll just be unlocked with the patch. Maybe there'll be a reward for the Horrific Visions feature, or whatever the hell this Nightfall content is going to be. Now, since this wave of interviews is basically patch marketing, there's only really one bit of other news, right? And that's in the form of But Why Those interview that revealed raids are going to drop quite a bit more Valor stones this time round, which is bloody good news. Now, there's no news in fixing the abundance of stones later in the season, but at least for now, stopping the early drought is Blizzard's goal. If you're not aware...
I mean, Valor's, after the beginning, if you're actually playing the game, the only time Valor stones really matter is the very beginning of the season. About like a month in, usually you're capped out on Valor stones like all the time, and you're just using them whenever you get a piece of gear that's upgradable or that's an upgrade for you. But those first couple of weeks, yeah, Valor stones are to me a bigger hindrance than even the crests are half the time, where I'm just running out of Valor stones constantly. So more of these dropping from raid is really, really good. I'm happy to see this.
Basically, what would happen is you'd be super starved of Valor stones. That always felt really bad because, well, you'd think that the crests are the thing that really should be gaining your upgrades, not Valor stones. So that is said to be better for raiding. Now, we would, of course, end up later on in the patch swimming with Valor stones and it feeling kind of awful we couldn't send them to alt because you'd have a cap of 2,000 and, well, you'd earn them from content. They'd just disappear because you're already at the cap. Hopefully Blizzard are doing something there. And to look just a little bit more into the future, well, patch 11.2 is actually on Blizzard's internal test servers. Yes, so that's appeared.
Very
the
nice.
ride never stops. They're actually pretty damn blistering with their development pace. And, well,
Valor
to pay for
stones are
that,
stupid.
we've got to...
You know, Ian did hint at Valor stones going away. Yeah, Valor stones should go away and just be Crest. He did hint at it a little bit. In one of the interviews, I forgot which one, maybe it was the Mr. GM interview with him, but he talked about that, he didn't say they're going away necessarily, but he did say they're looking at what they want to do with Valor stones in the future, but for now, they're going to remain how they are. So, there you go. Take that with a grain of salt.
Consumption opportunity. Blizzard are trying something a bit new, so for $65, you can buy 5 recolors of the same mount. It's the Meeksis bundle. I don't know what a Meeksy is, but yeah, you can buy them. You can buy 5 of them for $65. So it's a stack of mounts that are recolored. I don't know.
Nice.
That really does not seem like a value to me. As always, the artists have done a lovely job, but I just cannot see that making sense as a purchase. But I'm sure many will. Now, the other things you can buy,
sure
there's the Mist's Classic stuff. Basically, you can get the Sha-infused Heroic or Epic packs, which is $40 for a weird pet, a Shad-touched Cloud Serpent, and a Riding Tiger, as well as some property black tea and an Alt-Universe Sha-corrupted Storm Stout set, which is pretty good, I guess, if you want to be an Edgelord monk. And if you jump up to the more expensive tier, it's $80. It'll also have a level 85 Classic boost.
For the price of an expansion. I mean, it's crazy to me. But, I mean, we did look at the value of this. You do get some game time and a level 85 boost. When we looked at that, that alone was kicking you up to what, $60-something, I think it was, between those two. And then the mounts, typically a mount's $35 right now in the WoW store. So it was, like, if you looked at it in totality, it was a good value. Was it worth more than the actual prices? But still, I mean, it just feels weird to spend that much on a pack. Yeah, Fergus boost, basically.
And a month of game time. I have a feeling a lot of people will be tempted because those cosmetics look really nice, and it's no surprise that WoW token prices have indeed spiked a little bit. Okay, for the news though, I think it's safe to say I've saved the best for last. This could be absolutely huge and maybe transformational for the game. I don't say that lightly. Blizzard have confirmed that they are putting Weakauras in the game. I mean, not literally Weakauras the add-on, but seemingly their own version of that, right? So it's not a full-blown add-on within WoW, but it's Blizzard's own version that does what most people use Weakauras for.
This is huge. What?
Things. And this is what data mining is suggesting. There are these UI files that are named Cooldown Viewer. Now, they've got code for labeling abilities as essential, utility, and tracked, both in a bar and an icon form. Fairly interesting, and since player housing stuff was leaked via PTR in the same way, this may indeed be a fragment of a 12.0 build or something like that, somehow slipping in. And that means, of course, it'll be a while before
Weakauras in the game, or like I said before, before this video even started, anything that eliminates add-ons that you need in the game is better. Now, if they create this shit for boss fights or something, then it's a complete game changer. Where in Michigan do you live? I live like 30 minutes outside of Detroit. Good. What's up? Yeah, how's it going? Nice. Could take away a lot of Weakauras lag. Yeah, for sure. I think that's why they're doing it. Because if you remember in the last raid, specifically on like the egg boss and stuff, the lag got so bad because of Weakauras. That shit was popping off on people's processors. Like way overloading shit and just causing a ton of fight lag. Same with the Silken Court. There was a lot of lag there from Weakauras. So yeah, the more they add into the game, the better. And it also lowers the barrier to entry. People don't feel like they need to download a bunch of shit to play the game. Crazy concept.
Get any of this, but still, I think this is quite major. As an example,
Edit
mode replaced tons of add-ons for tons of people. This does then feel like a pretty damn clear next step. I mean, already in this patch, you can see the new tabbed version of like the map and quest log. It's got a really cool way of displaying events on a timeline.
Very cool.
And if we think about Blizzard trying to make their combat stuff more clear, well, we've got the way better swirlies now, and man, they are way better. If they were to have a more official version of Weakauras, that would actually codify what information players can see. That could be extremely helpful for just everybody being on the same level, and maybe remove some of the need
for
some of the more degenerate
stuff
Flint.
That
really is kind of damaging for the game. Being real, if you're developing a game, you don't want social pressures existing that tell people they need external stuff in order to play it properly. Now, you and I can sort of know you don't really need those things, but the thing is, the perception exists in people's brains. And
that makes sense.
Perception is often more the problem than the reality. Now that's it for the news this week. We are hard at work on our seasonal guide content. Check back next week. There will be delves, gearing, alt catch-up, anything else that you may need. But until then, if you want something to do over the weekend, check out this video next. You can go and you can unlock almost all of the new Warband campsites.
Great. Yeah, very cool. The Weakaura thing's a big deal. To me, I mean, they literally designed boss fights knowing that certain Weakauras are going to exist in the game because of the player base. So it'll change a lot of things if they can eventually just kind of eliminate those and just make everything in-game. And I think it's just better and healthier for the game in general. Nice video from Bellular.